Okay, we're going to start this first with just a video on how to find the greatest common factor between two numbers using prime factorizations. So let's first talk about why we want to use this. So for instance, if I have just a simple fraction of 20/36, well, if I want to know how to reduce this, I got to find the greatest common factor. If I have the prime factorization of those two numbers, so 20 would be 2 times 2 times 5, and 36 would be 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Well, I can just look at it and reduce this fraction. I'm pulling out the greatest common factor to reduce the fraction. If I look, 2 is in common, and another 2 is in common. So basically, the greatest common factor is 2 times 2, which is 4. But when I reduce this, I take the 4's out because the 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. What I'm left with is 5/9. That fraction just reduced to 5/9. That's how I use greatest common factor. So when I'm looking at these, I'm going to do the same. I'm looking at these two numbers. I'm going to do the same thing I just did here to find and identify the greatest common factor. So I'm going to look and say, well, 20 is 2 times 2 times 5. Now, if you're looking for, well, where did you get these numbers? When you look at the worksheet that I had you do, if you're in my class, you've already got this worksheet and the resources are already there on that yellow, why did the horse eat with its mouth open worksheet, and why did the dog have to go to court? These prime factorizations are already done. You've already done them if you've done your homework. So you don't have to redo this. You have that sheet as a reference right now. And you're going to eventually create a better reference than even that. So if I look, 36 on my sheet is 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. So again, like I said, we're going to circle what they have in common. So when I circle, they both have a 2 in common, and they both have another 2 in common. So when I'm looking for the greatest common factor, I'm just looking for the greatest common factor of these numbers. They have, if I look, 20's factors are 1, 2, 4, 5, and 10, and 20. 36's factors are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 3 times 12, 2 times 18, and 36. So if I circle what their common factors are, 1 is a common factor, 2 is a common factor, 4 is a common factor, and that's it. 4 is the common factors are 1, 2, and 4. The greatest common factor is going to be 4. So when I look at what the prime factorization is, I have 2 times 2, which equals 4. So all I had to do, rather than list all of these out like this, all I had to do was list out the prime factorizations, circle what they have in common, and multiply the two factors they have in common. Some will make the mistake of trying to multiply the 2 times the 2 times the 2 times the 2. But 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 2 is 4, so 16. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 is not a factor of 20, and it's not a factor of 36. So that, if you do that, that will be a mistake. All we're looking for is what factors do they have in common, multiplying those together, and that gives me the greatest common factor. Okay, we'll give you a minute to write this down, so we'll pause probably for about 30 seconds to let you catch up. Okay, so if we look at 35 and 20, well, again, these are on that sheet. So if I look, 35 is 5 times 7, and 20 is 2 times 2 times 5. So I'm going to circle what they have in common. They both have a 5 in common. Neither of them have a 7 in common or a 2 in common. So the greatest common factor is 5. Now 12 is 2 times 2 times 3, and 36 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Again, these two are both on that worksheet, so if you've done that worksheet, you should have these done. Then when I circle what they have in common, they have a 2 in common. They both have another 2 in common. They both have a 3 in common. So as I'm looking at this, then I realize that they have a 2. The greatest common factor is the 2 times the 2 times the 3. 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12. So the 12 is totally involved in the 36. It's the greatest common factor is 12. Now if I look at 26 and 35, 26 is 2 times 13. 35 is 5 times 7. Well, when I look for what they have in common, neither of them has no, they don't both have a 2. 26 is the only one with a 13. 26 doesn't have 5 as a factor, and 26 doesn't have 7 as a factor. They don't have anything in common, except for if I list out all the factors of 26, I get 1, 2, 13, and 26. If I list out all the factors of 35, I get 1, 5, 7, and 35. What do you notice that they have in common? They have the 1 in common. They don't have anything else in common, but they each have the 1. The 1 is the brother nobody talks about. So the greatest common factor for 26 and 35 is 1. So when we look at this, we've just written out the 3 different relationships. They can either have something in common, or they'll have everything in common, or they'll have nothing in common. Oh, except the 1, the brother nobody talks about. And that's going to be significant when we're doing fractions. So those are the 3 different situations you're kind of looking for. So as you're doing the worksheet, you're going to do worksheet C17. How can you tell if a shark likes you? Again, I'm going to enlighten you. You're going to find yourself understanding information you've never seen before. So you're going to start working on that one. You may not have room for all the work, but if you can't, then just go ahead and put it on a piece of paper and organize it so it's broken up into cells.